So the next one I'm looking at is the Volkswagen Amarok. This is Volkswagen's first attempt at trying to make a modern pickup similar to the Hilux or Navara or the class-leading Ford Ranger. Now this one isn't a top spec model, it's middle of the road as far as I can tell. It's running the 2-litre bi-turbo TDI, same as the T6 Caravelle I just reviewed recently. And in this vehicle it's a respectable enough engine, but it's very similar to the T6 where it's just not quite enough. On the plus side, however, this one has the 6-speed manual transmission. As far as modern pickups go, it looks pretty reasonable, and it seems to be a good size. The other thing that's rather interesting is it's definitely got Volkswagen's stamp and very signature look about it too. Well, I guess we'll do first impressions with this Amarok then, shall we? Well, it certainly feels big. It doesn't feel small. Throttle response is very good. Takes a bit getting used to. Before the test drive, I wondered just who this was marketed to. Was it marketed as a pickup, or was it marketed as a Chelsea tractor, as we call them? You know what I'm getting at here, a status symbol. Something that's more style than functionality. But I certainly didn't get that impression from the gearbox. First gear is really short, and everything else about it feels very Hilux-like in the way it changes. It's maybe a little clunky for my liking. People who have a lot of experience with pickups probably wouldn't care too much about this, and they're probably used to it. But I would say if you want something that's a bit more car-like, you're probably going to opt for the Navara with the manual 6-speed. After you get over that, and the way the first gear is all set up, for the obvious reason, it's obviously for practicality, the rest of the gearbox seems to respond very car-like. By the time you get up to 6th gear, you're cruising away on the motorway just fine, and it doesn't feel too out of place by that point. But one of the things you will notice, if you drive this for any length of time, is the road noise, the engine noise, the wind noise. It's so loud in there. It's almost like there's no soundproofing whatsoever. And I get how that could possibly be the sort of feel that pickup owners would want, but it just felt a little primitive. Here, I'll demonstrate. Just listen to this. So that's it sitting nicely at about 65 in 6th gear, just below 2,000 revs. That's okay for a pickup, that's okay. Visibility is great. I can see at the front, I can see at the side, I've got big mirrors, and I can see straight out the back window. Well, anyway, moving on to the visuals, you can see the traditional Volkswagen sort of styling going on at the front end. The arch covers are big and chunky, a nice side step on there. The bars on the back are quite cool, and the cover that is given is reasonable, and I like the way it bubbles up the way to give you slightly more space. You can see there at the back the chrome bumpers and the Volkswagen taillights, which obviously look fitting for Volkswagen. I guess you shouldn't expect fancy things from a pickup, so this interior is very simple and straightforward and easy to clean. Well, except for these door pockets here, which are carpeted. Don't ask me why that's done. And the switches are your basic Volkswagen standard affair. These seats, full leather, wipe clean, comfortable, easy to drive on for long distances. I can't really complain about too much. The manual controls are simple and work reasonably well. Sorry about the shadows. I hope these side steps are standard. I wouldn't like to get in without them. Standard Volkswagen steering wheel. At least it's leather covered. I would hate to have a plastic steering wheel in a truck like this. The dials are legible, easy to read, and they sit further forward than they do in a lot of other Volkswagens I've looked at. Damn stereo I hate is still in here. Well, this is a different variation on the same sort of model. They all tend to look the same, and I don't really like them much. The usual climate control system is there that you'll find in most Volkswagens too, and the switches are pretty much your standard ones and all. And just like the T6 that I looked at recently, it's got the same problem with a 12-volt socket that sticks up on top of the dash. That's not the best way to do it, Volkswagen, it's really not. Considering it's a pickup truck, the gear stick is really small. Really small. And there's your selection buttons for 2-wheel drive, 4-wheel drive, and 4-wheel drive low. 12-volt socket. Secondary 12-volt socket. Wow, this thing's got two. And then some extra buttons on the side for the heated seat controls and things. For a modern car, I expected auto headlights, but this thing doesn't have them. Dashboard and door cards are overall very, very simple design. Bit plasticky. Yeah, you get a leather steering wheel, but you can tell everything in here is designed to be low maintenance and easy to clean. And also simplistic to maintain. I'm looking at you, handbrake. Getting in and out for a short arse like me isn't too bad because I've got the side step. Just nice and easy. But what about the back? This small door is a common pickup trait. It doesn't leave you with a lot of room to get in and out of. And it's just as well that side step is there. But overall, once you position yourself, it's really not too bad. And the legroom's okay. For a pickup truck, it's actually pretty good. Now you may notice there's some things missing. The backs of these seats do not have any pockets. The back of the center console has no vents. There's a set of very breakable cup holders down here. Don't ask me why they thought that was a good idea. And curiously, there's no armrest back here. Now I get it, you know, a pickup's designed to be nice and easy and durable, but I'm just surprised by that. This one has the cover with the gas lifters, which is good. As you can see, for the size of the bed, it's not too bad, you know? There's a 12-volt socket right here. I can't imagine how waterproof it is. So we've taken a look at its minimalistic style, so how does it drive? Well, it's noisy. I am not kidding. The engine noise, the wind noise, and the road noise. Really loud. I mean, for a pickup, you know, it's not that important, but it still surprised me. I found the Hilux to be quieter. That's saying something. Cornering in a pickup isn't the most fun ever. But this thing doesn't do too badly. It handles it relatively well. Just don't be expecting sports car handling. I just want to let everybody know I'm getting closer to figuring out what's wrong with this audio. I'm going to have to chop that file down into little chunks, and some of it works and some of it doesn't. Still kind of infuriating. Anyway, I was just doing my acceleration test here, and what I found was it actually gave me more than I thought. And one of the reasons for this is the fact that a lot of diesels, well, you get up to about 3,000 revs and there you go, that's all your power gone. But because it's bi-turbo, it gives you that little bit more. You get your power way further up in the revs. My only concern is it gave me acceptable power when it was empty. How about when it's full? I'd like to find out from owners how they found it for use every day. If they try and fill the bed or hitch a big trailer to the back that's full. I'd really be interested to find out how people manage with that. I don't have high hopes. On the plus side, the suspension's relatively good. It's still quite smooth. You hit a pothole, you hardly notice. You can't really say there's anything wrong with that. Well, the brakes have that kind of Volkswagen-ish feel. They're maybe a little bit too soft and spongy. I like more direct brakes myself personally. Maybe not as harsh as my Celica, where you just so much as tap it and your neck snaps off. But it's certainly really soft. There's a lot of travel in it. And not all Volkswagens have this problem, just some, but this is one of them. But Volkswagen's first entry into the pickup market with this Amarok is actually not bad. Not bad at all. They could have done a lot worse. And yeah, okay, it has a bit of issues with road noise, but overall it's perfectly capable. But Volkswagen have a habit of doing that. Any market they enter, yes, it's very similar to what they've made before, and this shares a lot of parts and components from other Volkswagen models. But they still did it kind of the right way. Overall, Volkswagen's first attempt can really handle its own amongst the bigger guys who've been doing it for longer. I mean, the legendary Toyota Hilux and the absolutely phenomenal new Ford Ranger. But also some of the little guys like the Nissan Navara and the Mercedes X-Class, which are the same thing, but that's another thing for another video that really aggravates me. We'll get to that at some point. There's never a truer saying than if you're not quite sure, just go for the Volkswagen. You kind of can't go too far wrong, really. And like I said, I'm reviewing a mid-range model. There's still much better ones further up the chain with better engine choices and more extras. I guess the question you'd ask me is, would I own one? Well, for me a pickup's not much good. I can't think of what I'd use it for. But I guess if I was, it'd be on my list of options. That's probably the best thing I can say about that at this time. I've got certainly no objections to it existing, and hopefully you guys found that useful. And of course, let me know in the comment section if you own one of these and you've had problems, or you just love it and you want to tell me about it. Like and subscribe if you appreciate what I'm doing. If you didn't like it, don't worry about downvoting it, just put it in the comments. Tell me what you think. I'm always happy to hear constructive criticism about my work. It's the only reason I've gotten better every video I've made. Well, I guess that's subjective and that's my own opinion, but you know, you can let me know. Check out some of the other reviews we've done, and I don't know what I'm doing next. We're just going to see. I've got a few on my list now that I want to tackle, so we'll see what happens. But until next time, look after yourselves.